It's so lovely to see everyone here today. Thank you so much for coming. Happy Pride Month, everyone. I was saying that I've collected rainbow things since before I knew I was queer, so this it's just any queer event for me is a time to be more rainbowy, which also just in general. But anyway. So I'd like to start by stating with gratitude, respect and gratitude that we are on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish people, specifically of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations. And with it being Pride Month, before corporate pride kicks in full gear, like locally, especially in the next couple months, there was a post that I saw today that kind of eloquently stated how, as a reminder of ourselves, that Pride's roots are in liberation struggles. And thinking about everything that's going on locally and globally, I think that was a poignant reminder today to be reminded of and eloquently said by long COVID justice. And in the spirit of continuing to be active in liberational struggles against colonial injustice and human rights violations, I encourage you to keep contacting your representatives, boycotting, protesting, and doing other actions that you're able to do in solidarity with Palestine and other global injustices. And also, things like Amazon exist, but do not create the community spaces that are here. So thank y'all all for being here and for being at mass events like this and really being the interweavingness that creates community spaces and places to thrive. So about this series, this little event series, the Little Gallery events here at Cross Crows are organized on a monthly basis to highlight queer, trans, BIPOC, and otherwise underrepresented artists and writers. And I'm your host and co-organizer, Taz Solis, they, them. Hi. Thank you. And we want to make events like this as accessible as possible to everyone. So there's no entrance fee for these events, but if you would like to support the wonderful artist and the performers here tonight, you can always purchase the wonderful pieces that are here and displayed for the whole month, which I'm very excited that we were last minute able to get you to display your amazing art. And so, yes, if you want to give a clap for the art, give it a proper introduction. Yes. Adeline's energy is going to be vibrating through the space all month. So, on that note, if you haven't been here before, or, in the spirit of community, especially Nana has noted that it's been, it's hard to keep spaces like this, community spaces, on this side of the drive, unfortunately, maintaining the monetary funds that are necessary sometimes to keep these places afloat. So if you aren't able, like all of us are struggling financially lately, then just spread the word and continue to tell your friends that spaces like this and Cross Crows exists, and would recommend spending an afternoon here perusing through everything. There's cool events that go on all the time and amazing art that you can see, particularly this art that will be here all month. So if some folks haven't had the chance to see it now, they'll have future opportunities to do that. Oh yeah, the reason why I said things about money also is that I have a humble little performer jar for tips, and it will just be split between all the performers here tonight. So if you have any cash tips that you would like to contribute, this jar will be around for the night. And yeah, so speaking of the artist, I will read your bio for being the featured visual artist for June. Adeline Poufong, also known as Addy, she, they, is a queer interdisciplinary artist from Ireland. She studied at Limerick School of Art and Design, moved to Vancouver in 2018 to pursue a career in the film industry as a sculptor. Her mixed-race heritage, as a child of an Irish mother and a Cameroonian father, has shaped her creative journey and provided a foundation for her exploration of cultural identity. Her artwork is deeply rooted in self-discovery and includes themes of Black joy, intersectionality, personal growth, and liberation. Her practice overall has evolved into a mission to empower others to embrace their identities and express themselves authentically. She also offers hair braiding, which has provided a rich channel for connecting with and serving the community. Today, Adeline's creative expression is unlimited, and she continues to work through visual art and performance and personal narratives, using various methods including paint, sculpture, writing, ceramics, poetry, and also is a certified expressive arts therapist. Yeah. We'll be reading second, but I will start with Marion here tonight, as there's usually a term for the first person to go for an event, but I can't remember the name of the event. Yes, there you go. So, Marion Jane's poetry deals with the dangers and joys of being an insane trans settler resisting the East Van colonial project. She spends her time playing the accordion, making zines, and screaming liberty with every breath.
Howdy. There we go. Is that better? Okay. I've been writing poetry for 20 years now or so. I had a dream that I just woke up, when I was, the building was on fire and the fire alarm was going off, but it woke me up, and as I'm outside 4 a.m, just cold and watching this place burn up on the other side, I'm just I'm gonna write a poem about this. So this poem is called Stained Glass. You know how poets are. They disguise the truth in a myriad of ways, painted over with the familiarity of the first time you heard church bells. Personally, they scared me in a way I imagined I would feel hearing the voice of God, and I cried. Imagine hearing the truth, so nakedly righteous for the first time. And that's that one. I grew up in a white supremacist family, and that sucked. And I realized, the day I kind of realized was Valentine's Day when I was 16. So I took to Facebook and I'm going to express myself through art. And I wrote this poem as a Valentine for myself in the future. And it's kind of helped sometimes. But anyway, this one's called Growing Pains. I remember it was in the grocery store. I asked to see my mom's glasses and put them on for the first time, for the fun of it. Mom, I can see everything. Well, son, looks like we need to get you glasses. And I remember it was over a summer that I would wake up in the night with excruciating leg pain. My mom took me to the doctor. Well, son, looks like you've got growing pains. It hurts, but it stops eventually. And I remember the first time jumping off the big rock at the Puntledge River. My dad was beside me, advising me of the opportunities. "Oh, well, son, you gotta look out for the little windows along the rapids so you can see the bottom of where you're diving to." And it's been a few decades since these events took place, and as with any troubles, with time and perspective, I've been able to see with fleeting clarity. I've been able to acknowledge the danger signs, but the doctor was dead wrong about the growing pains. This one, just as a warning, it is written in a state of mania and just being like a full-on insane episode. So if anyone can't handle just sort of that talk that mania brings, I won't be offended if you take a moment to cover your ears or whatnot. But yeah. Okay. So yeah, this one is called Cacophony of the House. "Why the hell tell me what they think, she thought she had thought. And the thought she thought they had thought forms micro beads along the crests, forms crochet grit knots in her chest, second-guessing what she knows best. The thought they thought she thought gets bound and caught in her throat. She starts to cough and to laugh and to stress. Why are my thoughts such a frustrating mess?" This is I got into the Pride magazine, and I didn't know what to write about. My friend Rabbit was write about how much it sucks getting your name changed as a trans person. And I was like, okay, easy. It's kind of like if you do zone out, it's basically just like a laundry list of complaints. Just know there's this one's called What's in a Name? "That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet." This was my sister's response when I asked if our parents called me by my new name. I appreciate the deftness in the way she chose to tell me no, as if words from a poet could help soothe this pain. And I wasn't ready to accept their unacceptance. Part of me had hoped that they'd have adapted since January 2017 when I first adopted Miriam, that they would have caught on that this wasn't a phase or a stunt. I convinced myself that they would change their mind when the legal change went through. I think about the process involved in legally changing a name. I don't think most able and neurotypical people appreciate the effort it takes. In my case, I had nothing more than a birth certificate and a doctor of 3 years. Barriers I counted myself lucky for having, knowing many people start with nothing. I started in January 2020 with no photo ID. My doctor had to sign an attestation to prove I was who I said I was, rejected by the ICBC the first time because he refused to put his birthday on the form. Then I had to go to ICBC a second time with a note from the doctor explaining why he wouldn't put his birthday on the form and hope that they would accept this. Then I had to wait for my photo ID with my birth name to come in the mail. Then I had to wait for a lawyer at the Catherine White Hallman Wellness Center to notarize the name and gender change papers before mailing them off. Then I had to wait a month longer because the papers were forgotten and not mailed off. Then I had to wait to receive my new birth certificate and my certificate of name change. Despite all the hurdles, I'm happy to say the change took effect December 2020. I received my new birth certificate shortly thereafter, and my certificate name change came 4 months later after it was lost twice in the mail. Third time was the charm. Now that they've both arrived, I have to get a new photo ID with ICBC, which is more months to wait, and I have to change my name with all the institutions. So many institutions. But my name is legally mine now. No one can take that away, nor the profound satisfaction in accomplishing such a magnus task for this disabled ass. No one can take away the joy I have when people I love say, "Good morning, Marion," or sometimes, "Good Marion morning." It's the good shoes that fit, and I'm proud to strut them in my own personal parade celebration. So I guess, dear sister, my answer to what's in a name is 4 years of struggle, and our parents still won't say my name. What a shame. Can I do 2 more? Can I do Okay. In that case, I'll do 3 more. How many here have worked food service, food and beverage? Okay. So when I say a midnight 12 top, some of you cringe. For those of you who don't know, a blank top, number top, is how many people are at a table, and midnight is the time of midnight. So a midnight 12 top, shout out service industry. Like a waitress who has lost her balance, I buckle at the knees from the weight of carrying too many plates. There's a history in these shoulders. Not one I've heard, but instinctively know, like an old song in the throat from my forgotten foremothers. I'm speaking with them now. One says, resist. Another, persevere. And another says, learn to fight with your fists. You might need it this year. And above all, they say in unison, above all, remain dear. And I cannot let them down. So I pick up the plates, and I balance them again. There's such a history in these shoulders. This was the next year in Pride. I was very fortunate to be accepted again. This one was kind of just like my little fuck you to that, because they're like together again. They're like showing all these events where it's like, let's meet unmasked and like blah 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 blah, and I'm like, okay, well I'm gonna be the stick in the mud about this. So this one's called Precious Steps. I'm treading lightly in the 6 million shadows of those who could not be here today, for this is dedicated to their memory. It still feels unreal, like a steep hill that forced us all to slow down and acknowledge who was around us in the eternity of a day after day after day. Who could we turn to? Who could we trust? People have been unmasking, complacent in their faith that they can outwit an ongoing pandemic that still threatens us. Who has our back? Who will keep us safe? In the eternity of a day after day after day, the answer was always up to us. The answer is us. This last one's kind of just a little cutesy-wootsy, whatever. It has the title of the zine this is from. They do, Nana, I think, has some copies kicking around. Anyway, this one's called Long Roads. People change, rearrange into strangers. It's alarming at first, but then the danger of having room to grow becomes a joy we share. Pull up a chair. Let's catch up, friend. How are you doing? Where have you been? Thank you all for listening. Thank you for Taz for messaging me. I'm very glad that I could come in last moment. So, yeah, thank you.
And now from art to also poet tonight.
Hello. Hi. I wrote some poems this evening about my artwork. 3 little poems. I really like writing to sort of cope with life. but I'm a little nervous about sharing the deep stuff, so I'm just gonna read these. I also got my friend to print them all off so I wouldn't be looking at my phone, and I've mounted them all up and left them at home. So I'm going to be reading from my phone this evening. One of them I have with me. Okay, so the first one is about the ceramic combs that you'll see here, and it's called Combs. Ode to the combs that witnessed me being sad, when I thought I was ugly, when I thought my hair was bad. To the ones that have been there through thick and thin, through relaxers and straighteners when I tried to fit in. Through my early childhood and that awful lice outbreak, to all of the combs that were destined to break. You've seen me through hairstyles that were nothing short of tragic. You somehow helped me realize that my hair is magic. It may be wild and unruly, but I think it's pretty cool. You help me see my locks are a gift. You're more than just a tool. You warped but never wavered. Over all the years it's grown. To me, you are a trusty friend, an entity of your own. You taught me I don't have to contain my mane. Instead, I'll wear it with pride and embrace the kinks and knots and twists, because you'll always be by my side. So this one I'm going to read from my prepared thing here. And this is just about when I first started hair braiding when I was around 12. And it's called My Sister's Hair. My sister's locks were curly and tight. When it was time for a haircut, she put up a fight. It made me uneasy to see her cry. I thought maybe I'll help her, I'll give it a try. So I observed the braiders as they parted and twisted, taking everything in case I missed it. There was no YouTube, so I had to concentrate and watch every movement I would later recreate. At 12 years old, my braiding wasn't the best, but I was determined to work through the mess. My cornrows got better as her hair got longer. I kept on practicing until I got stronger. Something inside me knew what to do, and I started braiding my own hair too. A ritual filled with love I came to understand, my ancestors guiding me through every strand. And then the last one I read through once, so this is my second time reading it, and it's called Hair Journey. It's kind of obsessive. I'm completely aware that I can't get through many conversations without talking about hair. From kinky to curly, from twists to a fro, I change up my style so my power can grow. A braid here, a twist there, with a dash of some flair. Each strand tells a story, each coil is a prayer. I'm the queen of my crown with each look I feel strong. It's magic, it's beauty, it's where I belong. One day I'm in locks, the next it's a mess, but each style is different, and I always impress. When I need to transform, to feel new and bright, I turn to my hair to get it just right. I braid others' hair too, with love and with care, sharing joy through the strands in the styles that we wear. The ritual is sacred with hands that connect, holding space that is cherished in deep-rooted respect. We sit and we braid, we laugh and we chat, for hours and hours. Imagine that. So if you see me looking at you with wonder in my stare, just know it's my passion, my power, my hair.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And everyone so far today has been lovely and flexible with sharing their work. So I greatly appreciate everyone who's here today to share their work. And if you would like to also be a visual artist or a performer here in the future, there is a sign-up form that you can reach out to me, and one of the future events, you or maybe someone you know who'd be interested, you could always sign up. Our next performer is Melissa. And I can read your bio if you would like.
Sure.
Melissa is an esteemed survivor of chaotic capitalism with an endearing sense of wonderment. With all her irregular brain activity, she's known for having an immense depth of spirit and tends to use an arsenal of nonviolent expression to communicate and to connect. A lover of all things nature and ethereal, Melissa finds herself in constant awe of this tragic and comedic experience of being a human.
This is lovely. I think I actually might sit, because this is like comfortable. Yay. Hello. I just wanted to start out with a short divulgence, if you will. I wanted to come clean. A few days ago, I was in a grocery store and I stole a lime. I did see, a woman with shopping with her family, and I guess she decided to not purchase the package of chicken that she had. She set it down on a shelf that wasn't refrigerated, so I just took it upon myself to take the chicken and return it back to the refrigerated area. I did claim to myself that was 69 cents of labor, and wandered home, gently with my lime. Also, to be fair, the chicken story never happened. It was premeditated. I went into the store. I had my canvas bags. I put them in my little cart, and I thought, ooh, that's a good hiding spot for a little lime. And it wasn't actually on sale. It wasn't 69 cents. It was full price. It was 99 cents. And again, because sometimes we all feel like we need to justify ourselves, I have left a lime there before. I did legally purchase said lime, and since we have to bag our own groceries now, I got home and I didn't have the lime. So it was there and probably got returned, and resold. Yeah. So, I thought, okay, yeah, I need a lime. I took it. It was premeditated. I took transit down Commercial Drive. I went, past the community policing station. I had a vision, going in and saying, I took a fucking line. I'm glad that, I could get that off my chest. Thank you. I am going to read from my phone since I don't have a printer. The library is approximately 600 meters from my home, and I could not get my ass off the couch. I even took extra Ritalin. Still didn't work. Okay. I love you all. Oh my God. I am going to, just a friendly reminder that the capitalists can try to take away our freedoms, but they can't take away our thoughts. They cannot take away our ideas. And they cannot take away the art that we create. Here's a poem I wrote about one of my favorite things, nature. It's called Pale Blue. Soft hues of pale ink stretched out onto paper under foreign skies, refreshed with pigment washed over in liquid strokes, lightening the backdrop behind higher elevation of rock and dark trees. The glacier rivers tumbling, overflowing, pouring, flooding the inlet, a pocket of swirling life, immersed in a serene place, mirrored from sea to sky, turning liquid into night, dipped on Earth axis, the way it is supposed to be, natural and cold, rugged and refreshing, the realness of nature, her aquamarine light, it crystallizes in my mind, celebrating shared consciousness and to be consumed by the vastness of her pale blue dream. Thank you. I freaking love nature. Oh, This next piece I did write for a faraway friend. They experienced a tragic familial loss. He's a gentle musician, and he introduced me to a lot of good bands, and I appreciate him. I wrote this for him. It's called The Dissonance. Thinking you are alone, you are not. Wanting to be alone, you cannot. I hear you say how hard this is. I hear you whisper wishing it wasn't to be this way. The sound of a song, of a single note, the composition altered. The track has skipped, transposing the truth, an entire verse unstable. Like the scrape of a needle on a record turning, the equilibrium warped. The consonant sound was of a soul you did not mistake. There was to be a bridge, but now there's a break. The break tore apart. The song and the chords of your heartbeat struck hard. The music stopped, and the harmony of your melody won't ever sound the same. And I do apologize for ending on a little bit of a sad note. But this is my very first performance. Woo! I was terrified. Past tense. And I completely avoided preparing. Yeah. So I only had 2 poems and a little story, but I hope to do it again, because I got a lot more to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. So, our next performer tonight is Jonah. Jonah is a midlife queer, non-binary, unapologetically neurodivergent ex-therapist, recovering from burnout by decolonizing their body. They believe that finally claiming their artistic and poetic voice is an act of resistance against the cumulative trauma of white supremacist culture. They're also a fierce advocate for disability justice, especially invisible disabilities and cultural reclamation as an act of decolonization. All their poetry is in non-digital format, handwritten or typed on their unique Underwood 315 typewriter. Today is their inaugural reading of their poetry publicly, a poetic coming out of the closet. Jonah.
So I've already won because the last time I tried to do a poetry reading, I left after 10 minutes and had a panic attack. So I've already won. Yeah. So a couple more things about me might help for context. Is yes, unapologetically neurodivergent, but only discovered this through having diagnosed my kid, who's now 11. We diagnosed him. He identified him as neurodivergent at age 7, and it's been a journey, really learning about my own neurodivergence and how having masked it for over 40 years and actually having to undo all the scripts that I taught myself to survive. So, as I said, this poetry is huge in that this is sort of an unmasking, like breaking down my own ideas of what writing should be, or even what freaking poetry should be, right? got a sore shoulder, so I'm just giving some love here first to my knee. So, this poem, first poem, is literally called Next Poetry Reading. It's a short one. Pick 2 envelopes out of 4. I have ADHD. Or is it? I can make my indecision work for me by getting the audience to choose what I'm doing. And now I'm totally not responsible if this is a flop. Stage fright solved. So that's what we're doing. Okay. Y'all get to pick what I'm doing tonight. I realize this could be like the Price is Right portion of the evening. I even have my lovely assistant, Elaine. They will, whoever would like to volunteer to pick a number, maybe Bookshare, we'll start with Taz. But I'm up to. I loved how you didn't wait for my instructions.
It's part of the chaos.
I love it. Oh boy. Number 6. I think the spirits wanted me to do this one.
You can do it.
Wow. So another thing about me is I tend to pause sometimes a lot, or have a feeling, whatever. So you'll know I'm done when I bow my head. Like this. Okay. Alright. Just in case, because I always have that awkward moment. Oh, I didn't know if they were finished yet or not. Okay, so this one is, actually I'm surprised I'm right out of the gate with this one. This one is called Pinipig, and this is part of, if you know Filipino culture, part of I'm part Filipino, part, my other father is Chinese, my mother is Filipino. I've done a huge amount of work in the last year reclaiming my Filipino ancestral roots. And Pinipig is an ingredient in the Philippines that I think is one of the best things that's ever come out, but it's very underutilized in Western cooking. And it's basically like ancient Rice Krispies. They take young rice, and they pound it, and it's so fresh and young that they have to store it in the freezer. And how you use it is you stir it in a skillet, in a like cast iron skillet, until it's toasted. And as it's toasting, it crackles at the top when you stir the rice. Okay. Pinipig. Standing there, reading aloud, looking back or why I wasn't a famous poet at 19. My heart catches seeing trees in cages, breathing green, alone and separate. Even the plants got separated by whiteness from the roots. I'm also stirring. A cast iron skillet warms my hand as I stir. These young grains of rice, pounded white, feeling closer to my ancestors than I ever have before. The scent of toasted, crispy rice, transporting me to a foreign and familiar place. I laughed when I realized the strange crackling I'd been hearing all evening was the whispers of my ancestors calling me back home. Their snap crackle, and pop, chanting in a once forgotten language. Bring joy and nothing else. My purpose became clear as a young grain of rice, pounded light, transformed by fires, traumas, pains, genocide, into the most delightfully crackly, yet toothsome and crisp, nutty, brown delight. My purpose is joy, pleasure for all the pain. Be like Pinnipig, something whose name brings joy, even if you don't know or will ever understand who I am. All right. What y'all? Does anyone want to choose the next number? I think I saw this person. Oh, Adeline. I think I saw this person. What's your name?
Laurel.
Laura. Nice to meet you, Laura. By the way, I go by the event pronouns.
She, her.
She, her. Nice to meet you, Laura.
Nice to meet you.
You can take a number from here.
Your number is 3.
Number 3. Lucky number 3. Oh boy. Let's see. Oh, interesting. It's really interesting direction that I feel like the ancestors are steering me into stealing. Okay. Wow. This one is even untitled, but so I think one of the other cool things about my poetry, and maybe I'll have to talk about doing a display, is that when I write it, it is on the typewriter, and I can only write typing it, because I had this thing that happened to me in my last burnout where I lost, we're still trying to figure it out, but I basically lost my ability to move, and I couldn't talk for a while, and anyway, it's slowly coming back, but I'm noticing that I have a very somatic way of writing my poetry, and so when I use I feel the words in the carriage. So it's like, how many of you have actually typed on a real typewriter? Okay. My kids had never used one, so I just had to check. But it adds to me, and that's something I'm trying to learn or figure out, is how to translate that feeling that I have when I write it on the page. And so it shows up in the patterns that it is. Okay, this is basically about something I've learned as someone who's neurodivergent about the fact that I am and my kid, we're both what's called a gestalt language processor. Has anyone heard this theme? It sounds really interesting. So gestalt language processor means that instead of thinking in words and building blocks like Lego, so when you build language, you build with words, a person is actually using pictures. I use pictures to build language. And so a word actually is representative of an entire picture, which is why, for some autistic folks, they can make interesting poets because it conveys an entire picture in one word. And this is something that I wrote, something that kind of made me think of how, when I read it out loud, how in pictures, I kind of put together a thought. So it's kind of like it's a weird thing of trying to describe in words how I'm thinking in pictures. If that makes sense. Okay. Thank you. Sitting, listening to the rain. Cars whooshing in 3 layers of outerwear. How can one be cold when they're perpetually on fire from the inside out? I've always understood what they meant, spontaneous self-combustion, like Vajrayogini, self-generative. Huh. That's why I was in a hurry to leave my mother's womb. I had already grown up in utero. All of it does fit. Each of us needs to be exactly who we are. Now I'm preaching. And laughing. Because that belongs too. Okay. We have time for...
Oh yeah, it's only 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Oh boy. All right. Okay, well then, is there another person who's like, yes, we have, was it Silvana? Thank you, Silvana.
Number 2.
Number 2. Yeah. Oh, okay. Again, untitled, yet, I don't know. Well, my notes here are that this is my commentary on redefining love. And trying to acknowledge how we think of love as being what we think that love should always feel good. So I think it's more of acknowledging how love, just like being on the spectrum, is it's like a spectrum, and it's multifaceted, and there's like a storm of like a lot of different things that you feel, but it's the vulnerability of that, and that is what it means to love. It's the feelings realm. I'll see you when I see you. No more goodbyes. See you soon. I miss you already. We're taught to develop a taste for sweet love. I'm covering mine in a generous dash of tagine, calamansi, 5-spice chili oil. Not all at once, silly, except I know that will be one day. I want my love to please all my senses, tantalize all my 3,489 taste buds, give or take the week. Is a life well lived when you've done it all feeling nothing but empty? Or you felt everything you've done? Alright, how many do we do already? This is way more than we thought we would have to, and I've been babbling all night. Do we want more is the question. We would like another person. Okay, alright, this person here right next to the letter wants more.
Number 5.
Number 5, alright. Number 5. Oh boy. Excuse me. What was your name?
Sophia.
Sophia? Oh, my daughter's name is Sophie.
Oh, cool.
What's your birthday?
February 26th.
February 26th?
Not the year.
No.
Birth chart right now.
I'm just trying to make meaning of. I'm fighting with the spirits of whether or not I'm ready to read this one or not. So I'm trying to see if you have some other message with your birthday that you picked this for me to read.
Pisces, water, fish, I don't know.
So February 26th.
Yeah.
Oh, I like February. What if we went with? Oh, we did number 2 already. Anyway.
Maybe for someone in the room. You want me to pick another? Really?
I'm gonna let it happen. I like you.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, no, like,
Oh, 7.
well, how about you get to pick which number?
Oh, man. 5?
You want 5?
She trusts. She trusts.
Let me move your chair up a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
Alright.
Or 7. I don't know. I don't want to be difficult. Is it difficult?
You're not being difficult.
Oh, okay.
But I think that might be interesting if you're willing.
Yeah, okay.
If you came up here, if you want, if you're open to that, if that makes sense.
Sure, to do what?
I'm trying to decide if this makes sense. I think it's more that this is a piece that makes sense if you're reading it, and I'm trying to decide if this is a piece I should be reading aloud or one that you should read.
You could
read the whole thing, actually,
I kind of like this part.
you want let's do this part and then I'll take over here.
Okay, sure.
How about that?
Okay.
You got this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. You want to hold that then?
Okay.
All right. Let's start. This is Sophia and Jonah.
Yay! Do I start?
Start right there.
Okay. Can you hear me through this? Okay. If you're holding this page, hold it like art. The kind you are so blown away by. You're speechless. That somehow, even for the briefest of moments, someone, something, somewhere, knows the truth.
Yay.
Thank you, Sophia. Where my queer, flaky trans body, a family on their way to prayer and Ramadan. The trans brother forced to choose maid. The kuya who put an ocean between him and his family to survive. The babies and grandmas and tweens buried in rubble. All our siblings stolen, murdered, all but forgotten. That makes sense. Did I sigh? It's really gonna be all okay.
Okay.
That was good, right? Good, all right. You guys have been really kind. Thank you, and thank you for everyone, your help. So.